So I'm sure nobody cares or has been keeping track of my upload schedule, but you might have noticed I haven't been uploading as frequently recently. There is a reason for that. It's simply just the video I'm making currently, I'm working on a video, is taking longer than I thought it would. So I felt a little bad for not uploading for like a few weeks, I think. So I decided I would just come up with like a random idea and I'd make it into a video because I feel like I need something to post. So I'm gonna do like a story time style video where I basically talk about some of the weirdest fucking substitute teachers that I have ever had. Now I'm in secondary school, right? And the secondary school that I go to is pretty big. It's all of the surrounding villages, so that's like 4 or 5 villages worth of kids in one secondary school from year 7 to 11. So that's kids from like age 11 to age like 16. So it's kind of a lot. Now I haven't been at this school very long. I'm in like my 2nd year at this school. So, you know, I don't have that many stories, but I have had some weird fucking substitute teachers already. This first story is from right at the beginning of year 7, I think. Might have been like mid year 7. And I'm not going to be using any of these teachers' real names because while I don't like them, I still respect their privacy. And I also don't know most of their real names because it's a British public school and we just refer to them as dumb nicknames. Now this teacher is called Ticketman, and I thought he got fired after this, but he actually didn't because I had him as a substitute like 5 other times since then. So my first encounter with Ticketman was like mid to beginning year 7, right? My teacher was off for whatever reason and the Ticketman walks in and we're like, oh cool, a substitute. So we're all sitting at our desks, we are reading books, I think. Yeah, we were reading a book, and like the kid behind me, I don't remember who it was, it might have been a friend of mine or it might have just been like a random kid, but someone was sitting behind me and they are reading their book and they drop it. So like any normal human being, this kid gets up, walks around the back of the desk because it had fallen over the front of the desk, and goes to pick his book up. Apparently this doesn't sit well with Ticketman because he looks at him and goes,
"What are you doing? Why are you standing up?"
The kid kind of pauses, stands back up because he was bent over to get the book and goes,
"I dropped my book, sir. Can I please just pick it up?"
For some reason, Ticketman gets really, really mad at him. And he just kind of goes,
"No, you can't. Sit back down."
And we're just kind of like, okay, what? Like a couple of kids put their hand up and was like, why can't he pick his book up? But he just kept telling them to be quiet, so whatever. We went back to reading our books, and a few minutes later, Ticketman looks at this kid, who is obviously not reading because his book is on the floor and he's not allowed to pick it up. He looks at the kid and he goes,
"Why aren't you reading? Where is your book?"
This kid kind of looks at him dumbfounded, as does everyone else in the class, because we just watched him tell this kid he wasn't allowed to pick it up. And the kid goes,
"My book's on the floor, sir. You said I couldn't pick it up."
And then Ticketman just kicks him out. Like, that was first of all, you know, not needed because he didn't do anything. Secondly, it's not even how the school system works. Like, I'm not going to go through the entire logistics of how my school system works, but that's not it. You can't just kick kids out, okay? And so, obviously, the kid goes,
"Sir, that's not how the school system works. You can't just kick me out. I just want to get my book."
And the teacher yells at him for answering back, and then he just kicks him out. So the kid leaves, and he leaves the door open, and as he's leaving, he turns around, and I think he was going to ask if it was a C3. I think he told me afterwards. He was going to be like, "Is this a C3?" And the teacher just walked over to where he was and slammed the door in his face. And we were all just standing there like, what the actual fuck was that? And the teacher then just carried on the lesson like nothing happened. And since he didn't send the kid to a different classroom, nor did he give him any work, the kid just stood out there for like an hour, just waiting. And then they like a bunch of kids went and reported him to pastoral, and he still teaches there. So nothing even happened. Okay, so that story was pretty bad, but that's not even the worst, because in that story nothing actually happened to me specifically. In this story, That's all about to change. So a little more recently, we had a substitute for English, and you obviously don't know this, but my school uniform consists of a blazer, a shirt underneath, trousers if you're a boy or a girl that doesn't like wearing skirts, and a skirt if you don't mind wearing it. There is no shorts allowed, whether you're a boy or a girl, and then black shoes. You also have a tie, and it used to be just like a regular tie, like the kind you have to tie, but kids used to like come up and strangle each other with them, so now we just have clip-on ties. So, you know, I was just sitting there, and obviously this uniform is very warm, and the room that I was in is pretty notorious for being a very, very warm room because it has black blinds instead of white ones, and that attracts heat, and it becomes really, really warm. So I was sitting there, quietly toasting, and I go, fuck it, you know what, and I take my blazer off. Now, some teachers don't like it when you take your blazer off without asking, and I've never really had to ask a teacher to take my blazer off because most of the teachers that I have had, whether it be substitutes or just like actual teachers, don't really care when you take your blazer off. So I just assumed, right? You know, like a small mistake on my part because she did mind, and she goes, why'd you have your blazer off? And I go, oh, I was warm, was I supposed to ask? And she just goes, put it back on. So I was like, okay. So I put my blazer back on, and I sit there for a couple more minutes, and then I go, miss, can I take my blazer off? It's really, really warm in here. And she just kind of goes,
No, you can't.
and I was just like, but I'm warm. And she still wouldn't let me. So I leave it because she says if I ask again, she's going to give me a C1. And I didn't want that. So I sit there for a few more minutes, and I see that Miss has turned around, she's facing the other way, and I go, okay, I'll take my blazer off really quickly, then I'll put it back on when she turns around. So I take my blazer off for a couple minutes, and, you know, I'm cooling down, and then the teacher comes up right behind me, and she's like,
Put your blazer back on.
and I was like, oh, shit. Okay, so I put my blazer back on, and everything is fine for a few minutes. I'm really warm, and I'm sweating a lot, but my friend said that she would offer me some perfume and some deodorant and stuff, and we can go into the bathrooms at break, and the problem would probably be solved. So I was like, okay, do you know what, whatever, I'll leave my blazer on for a bit, I unbutton my top button, you know, and I'm fine. And then the teacher, she stops whatever it is she's doing. I think she's writing something on the board. She turns and she looks at me, and I was completely silent, right? I was sitting there like this, mouth completely closed, staring down at my paper, and she just kind of crosses her arms and she looks at me.
What are you eating?
And I'm like, who, me? I'm not eating anything, because I wasn't. I genuinely didn't have anything in my mouth. And she didn't believe me, and she asked me a bunch of times, what are you eating? What are you eating? What are you eating? And I was like, nothing. I'm not eating anything. But she didn't believe me. And so she just sent me out of the classroom. I had a C1. And she didn't even tell me it was a C3. So she gave me what I was assuming was a straight C3 from C1. Where's the mathematics, miss? So I'm standing out in the hallway, and I'm a little annoyed, but I took my blazer off, so I was cooling down, and then one of my friends comes out, and she stands in the hallway, and I'm like, what are you in for? And she's like, I don't even really know, and we laugh about it for a couple minutes, and then another kid comes out, and we start laughing even more. And obviously we laughed too loud, so the teacher from the class that was next to us comes out and she's like, what are you guys laughing about? And we kind of explain, we think we got C3'd, but she didn't say it was a C3. And the teacher goes, okay, well, come sit in my classroom, and, you know, if the teacher wants to register it as a C3, that's fine, but I don't want you out in the hallway because you're distracting my students. So we go, okay. We sit, obviously, on, like, opposite sides of the classroom. Like, I was here, my other friend was here, and, like, they were there. So we couldn't talk to each other, and we were just sitting there. And we come back after the class, like we go back to our classroom and we talk to the teacher, and she's like,
It wasn't a C3. You weren't supposed to go into a different classroom. I just wanted you to wait in the hallway so I could come out and talk to you.
and all three of us tried explaining, but miss, that's not how the school system works. And she wouldn't listen to us. She would not let us explain that you're not supposed to do that. You can't just send kids out into the hallway because they're going to think it's a C3. That's not part of the rules. She wouldn't fucking listen. And so we later went and we reported the teacher to pastoral, and I don't think anything happened. So that's really fun. That's some of the fucking weirdest substitute teachers I've ever had. I have had a lot of other weird substitute teachers, and a lot of just weird teachers, like teachers that hated me for obvious reasons. So if you want a part 2, I'm probably gonna make it anyway because if you don't want a part 2, I'm still gonna make it because I am completely out of video ideas. So expect a part 2 in the next month probably because I have no motivation to make videos. Okay, goodbye.